You're sitting in your Cambridge IGCSE computer science exam. The clock is ticking down, the pressure is literally on, and you're staring blankly at a question about internet risks. Well, let's run an immediate, high-stakes pressure test right now to see exactly how easily your marks are about to be lost.
Take a look at the student exam answer. Malware is bad software that steals data. You should use an antivirus to stop it. Now, I want you to mentally stress test this. This is a seemingly good and honestly incredibly common student answer for a school network scenario. It identifies the problem, it identifies the solution. Seems totally logical, right?
0 marks. Yep, you get absolutely nothing for that answer. I know that's a shock, but this generic response scores absolute 0 because it completely ignores Cambridge marking principles. It just floats in a vacuum. Let me show you exactly why writing like this is exactly what the examiner expects you to do and, more importantly, how we're going to fix it.
Section 1. Why normal revision fails and the danger of generic answers.
So in IGCSE computer science, memorizing short labels in a vacuum will absolutely destroy your grade boundaries. What's really interesting here is how it highlights the sheer danger of theoretical isolation. We've got social engineering on one hand and malware on the other. The theoretical foundations of internet risks often depend on distinguishing between nearby concepts. A classic wrong turn that bleeds marks is confusing the two. If you just memorize simple definitions without understanding the connected computer science structure, you'll end up describing phishing when the examiner is actually asking about a virus. Your notes have got to train comparison, not just single-topic explanation.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly where things go wrong. These are the classic Cambridge traps. Vague wording, confusing similar terms, missing process steps, like when you name a device or a method but don't explain how it actually works. But you know the absolute biggest trap here? Ignoring the context. When you face a question, you might know the theory backward and forward, but if you write everything you know without direction or a clear process explanation, you're falling right into this exact trap.
In a moment, I'll show you the exact examiner clue that changes the answer completely. But first, you need the framework that makes that clue obvious. Because honestly, if you don't have this structure down, knowing the clue just won't save you.
Section 2, the high mark framework, unlocking the top band.
All right, here is the exact 4-step framework required to structure a high mark response. Step 1 is concept. You need to identify the exact requirement of the task. Step 2 is evidence or data. This is where you classify the relevant data, hardware, or software involved. Step 3 is scientific reasoning. You have to explain how the process works in a clear sequence that another learner could actually follow. And finally, step 4 is examiner wording. Check whether the question wants causes, effects, advantages, disadvantages, or design decisions and use the precise terminology they are looking for.
Now, to guarantee your concept is actually ready for examination use, you must run it through these 4 memory prompts. What is it? How does it work? Where is it used? And why is it better or worse than an alternative in that specific situation? If you can answer those 4 prompts out loud right now, you are ready. If not, you have to go back and rebuild the topic from a key contrast and a worked example.
Section 3, beat the question. A school database context.
Okay, let's look at a realistic, high-pressure Cambridge-style scenario regarding a school system security incident. Here's the question. Explain how you would protect a school's database from malware and justify your method. I want you to pause this explainer right now, predict the answer, map out your response using that 4-step framework we just covered. Don't just list facts. Connect the ideas. How are you protecting the school's database specifically?
Let's break it down. Take our flawed generic answer from earlier. Malware is bad software. Use an antivirus. Compare that to the anchored, improved top band answer. The improved version identifies specific software. It explains the clear sequence of how an antivirus scans files against a database of known signatures. And most importantly, it connects directly to the school database context, explaining exactly how it protects student records.
If we run this through an examiner-style checklist, you can see exactly where the marks are won and lost. Did you identify specific hardware or software? Did you explain a clear sequence? Did you connect it to the school database context? Did you evaluate the design decision? Generic responses rarely gain full marks because they completely failed this exact checklist.
So the crucial point is this definition right here, anchoring. This is the examiner clue I promised you. Examiner's style performance completely depends on specificity. Every single digital process you describe must directly connect to the practical consequences for the specific user, system, or organization provided in the scenario. If the context is a school, an office, a network, a robot, or a website, your answer must stay inside that context. If it isn't firmly anchored to the exact scenario, your whole answer breaks.
Section 4. The 3-pass revision cycle for exam adaptability. To guarantee your anchoring sticks, use secure definitions, rehearse worked explanations, and finally force yourself to adapt those scenarios to new contexts.
But this brings us to a massive unresolved problem. You know the framework now. You know exactly how to anchor your answers. But how on earth do you memorize all the 0, 4, 7, 8 definitions and processes in just 7 days? Knowing the theory is totally useless if you run out of time to compress and adapt the entire syllabus before exam day.
If your answers are still floating in a vacuum, how many marks are you leaving entirely to chance? You literally cannot leave this to chance. You must rebuild stronger in the next step. Subscribe to our YouTube channel Ace the Exams at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations.